It's tabletop time. I'm Jazza.
And I'm Dave.
And we're going to be painting some space werewolves. You haven't seen these yet.
I haven't.
This was for a collab on my main channel. I'm going to link to that in the description. It's a long time coming. We started this collab in March. And the timing's sort of perfect because now I have a 3D printer, like a resin printer, and we've printed them. So I've got them all here. I'm going to start off with the little guys. So these are our little werewolves. There are different poses, but they're the same unit. So react away.
I'm painting today.
We are painting these together.
And I haven't seen them.
You have not seen them. Check them out.
Hey, look at that.
Not bad, eh?
Oh my god. Oh, they've got like vents on their back.
Yeah, you can grab them.
Oh yeah, let's get into it.
Move them around. I don't know what's happening with this one. I think his breakdancing.
He looks like he's doing like the dance fighting.
The electric boogaloo.
That's crazy. Okay.
So the lore behind them, I don't know if we want to try and fit them into 40k and like play with them one day. They're like slaves. They're enslaved. That's what the collar is.
Yep.
And they're bred. It's a very Darwinian sort of culture. They're cannon fodder basically, and they're sent in to charge. These are the most disposable ones.
Yep.
The part of the prompt was that they're really rabid and gross and
dirty and feral. And, yeah.
But they're actually not bred to be like these. These are the discarded ones.
Okay.
They're bred to be like this.
Whoa.
This is a working one. This is the proper werewolf. They're bred to.
Goodness.
Ignore the sexy part.
Oh no, that's my favorite one. I love that one.
We're saving the sexy ones for personal time.
That's tabletop time after dark. Okay. That's the spin-off.
So we'll put the sexy ones, the breakdance ones aside. So these were sculpted by I Am Backman on YouTube. I'll link to his channel in the description. We need to not bite off more than we can chew.
Okay.
Because we're going to speed paint this today.
How many big boys are there?
We've got 1:30. We have 4 hours tops. I reckon we could smash this. 4 hours. What if we smash out the little ones first, get the vibe for it?
Yep.
And I think one of the things, because one of the prompts is to go gritty, this is my favorite thing. Now, you've never used this before. I've used it once before. There's a whole channel that basically it's all about making grimdark stuff, and they just like use this so much. It's really cool. AK Interactive Streaking Grime. It's an enamel-based thing, but it feels like using alcohol markers in a way, like alcohol ink. So we'll play with that later. So if we like base coat them, we'll do a clean up and a base coat. And we start off with just like a brown for the fur and maybe dry brush lighter. What do you think? Because I feel like a contrast for the collars, like something blue or metallic.
Yeah, I'm always thinking like, you said they're gross and mangy, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of could almost see like a little bit of like a pink in there. There's a lot of flesh without fur on it. And when you've seen like a dog that's lost its fur, they have like a more lighter color than maybe like a harsh brown.
Mixing in like a...
Yeah, and then we can like even just as a thing like stipple on some blood and like little sores on them.
I like it. We'll go like super gritty.
Yeah.
I also wonder if for the collars, like you can see the aesthetic is quite different. Let me just zoom in here. So there's it's much smoother. It's almost like, you know, Apple design as opposed to Windows.
It's quite high tech.
Yeah. So the collar could be quite sort of chromy.
I like the idea of tying that in with the dirtiness of this streaking grime. Picture the vent like oozing something out of it, some residue like coming out.
What color do we want to go for the collars?
Space Wolves blue, just to be rude to the Space Wolves.
Could be fun though.
Yeah.
Shall we do it?
Yeah, why not?
You can explain how the lore would work to me as we do it. We'll refine it as we paint, and then by the end of this video, we'll have the painted characters designed, painted, and we'll have the lore to fit them in so we can use them in a Warhammer game.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Eiffel Tower. I don't know how to transition on this channel yet. It's all new to me all over again. So, Dave, we're improvising a voiceover talking about what we did.
That's right.
Yeah, and we started off painting the flesh, and I think we started off feeling like, we're going to paint all the same thing. It's going to end up looking like we're painted the same army, but slowly but surely. Yeah,
it kind of, as soon as we realized that we'd both picked up different shades and put them on, and we're like, oh, I guess we're all going to start diverging.
So, like, I guess it sort of started to be like incrementally like, okay, different ways of like, you know, putting in the wash and stuff. All right, I wouldn't even say we're at the halfway point.
No.
We've got 2 hours left, so this is definitely turning into a speed paint video. And then you had an idea. We should probably cover that now.
Okay, so I want to mix two Citadel shades, Caribou Crimson and Druchii Violet.
And it makes it like a what?
It's like a bruised, tortured flesh look. So if we can put that on like in deliberate patches, and one of the things I was really thinking would be a good spot is along the back of that leg. We've got all those like ring shapes, and we can kind of turn them into horrible sores and put little bits of blood in them.
On the arm there's something there too.
Yeah,
that's cool. So that should work really well. We use the time limit to our advantage, at least in doing like a mangy wounds and sores and stuff. You know, you can rush through it and it'll look just as good.
Yep, 100%.
So moving on, this is where, okay, we're trying to tie them in together, but at the same time, this is slowly turning into I'm painting my guys, you're painting yours. It's cool seeing each other's process. I feel like, because there's such a time constraint, we're defaulting to our core basics, and we both have different sort of approaches, and obviously you have a lot more experience, so it's interesting watching you get some pretty clean results very quickly, and I'm pretty rough. I guess I'm leaning on the later phase of streak and grime.
It's funny though, because you say that and like that I've got more experience, but when it comes to speed paint, I'm not a speed painter. I've only ever speed painted once, so this is pushing me to be like, how do I get some kind of result in a short space of time? So it's a challenge on my side, and I just lean into like, okay, clean base coat, let's put a wash on it.
Well, it's working. It's working for me. I like, especially now that the color on some of the cybernetic stuff is going in. That's looking really, really cool. And the contrast between the gritty sort of fur and skin look and then a pretty clean looking silhouette around the cybernetic stuff. They're cool models. Again, I am Backman on YouTube. Go check out that stuff. Very, very cool. But this is where we need to sort of make some hefty decisions about color and how we're doing some of the details. And I think it's a good idea to lean into the lore, and you like the idea of the 1,000 Suns. I like the idea of the 1,000 Suns. You like using it to spit in the face of Space Wolves.
Yeah, well, look, you've basically got cybernetic like werewolves, and that already exists in Warhammer with the Space Wolves and the Wolfen. The Space Wolves actually transform into werewolves effectively, and they go mad, and they can't control them. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if their mortal enemies, the 1,000 Suns, kind of nabbed them or tortured them into this, and then like controlled them forcibly with these implants?
Cool, man. Well, this is coming together pretty nicely, given the constraints that we have coming together. As you can see, I don't know, I'm pretty proud of it. How are you feeling? Because you like to spend your time on your
look, but there's a certain thing with new like speed paints. It's satisfying. I'm happy with where they are right now. I look at them and I'm like, once we get the color in the areas that we haven't got color, it's going to come together. And then when you weather it at the final step, I cannot wait to go
Streak and grime. Streak
and
grime.
You want streak and grime?
Blood and streak. All of it. All the blood and all the grime is going to make it amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we're moving into our next voiceover portion, picking up on the next day. By the way, we're going over time with this, so this is extent. Our speed painting is not as speedy as it should be. I have a confession to make. This is all Dave, and it's okay. You guys can be okay with this because I spent all day getting the camera rig ready for tabletop time. So Dave, we worked on one together to sort of feel our way through what the model should, what the rest of them should be, but guide us through your process because I haven't seen them yet, and I'll have a look at them in a sec.
Okay, so
what'd you do?
Basically, we started by painting the guns black and then going over with a couple of dry brushes to get that metal effect going. We had some discussions over what we were going to do with, there's some missiles on them, and I decided I was going to go rogue, and I've painted them like little missiles on them. So
awesome.
I think they've come up. Then we went through and picked out the color for the loincloth, so to speak, and we've got these turquoise loincloths, which come up very similar to the armor in the end.
Cool.
I think we wanted them a little bit dark.
You came in with a huge amount of sheets of transfers.
Yeah, I did.
Very enthusiastically like, we're doing transfers. And I'm like, I've never done transfers.
And still haven't.
And still haven't because I unfortunately opted out almost entirely of all of this stuff. Which, round of applause in the comments. I don't know if you can applause in the comments. But the fact that this video is pulled off is entirely because Dave stepped up and took over for me. And it's amazing. So, yeah, it's super cool to have help on mini projects for the tabletop.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been very fast. That's the other thing is I think we wanted to have like 6 hours yesterday and we had 3.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's why it split over. But yeah, transfers. I wanted to carry over the 1,000 Suns thing, so I just grabbed some basic transfers and just shoved some in there. A really good way to get color and build it into a model really quickly and easily. So
all right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hey, look at that. And even though we've done them differently, you could easily mix them among each other and they work really well.
Oh, 100%.
Look at that. These are cool, man. These are like a proper little army.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh my God.
It actually looks like you could use these.
This is legit. So this is what Dave was talking about when he was referring to the skin blemishes. So is that just blood for the blood god?
No, I haven't even got to that yet. We're going to do that last after the streaking grime.
So you've just gone back in with
with Caribird Crimson, because everywhere that we're going to pick out as a sword,
looks so good.
We want it to look just miserable.
I love it.
Some of the smaller ones are really good examples of it. Like this guy, you can see on the cut on his chest, he's got like a scar.
God. That's so cool, man. These have turned out amazing. Okay, so you've done the transfers, and they look really legit.
They've got a little bit of sheen to them, but we knock that out at the very end. So there's some techniques you can use to clear that up. Okay. Once we put on the streaking grime, anything, you can just put any paint medium over them, which will get rid of it.
Cool. I feel like the streaking grime would as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So before we do that, I actually think we should do a matte varnish over everything. Okay. Just to sort of separate from the heavier work we're going to do on the staining. So I think a light sort of coat of the matte varnish just generally will create a bit of a separation. Just hold your breath.
And you're going to do that here.
No, let's go outside. Streaking grime, yay! I have to credit Zatskagoon.
Oh my gosh, that is guy. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Mechanica stuff.
Isn't it? I mean, it's amazing. You should see.
I'm going to sub to that.
Yeah, I'll link to it in the description. Go check it out. But he does wicked grimdark stuff. And this thing it's basically a wash. It's an enamel paint. And it's magic. So I'm gonna lean over you and do the first little bit, and then I'll give it to you.
Oh no, you're making me do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Basically, and you don't have to use an airbrush, but it is easier and cleaner and quicker. You just want to take your streaking grime, put it in your airbrush. All right. I don't know how much that'll cover, but it should be all right. How do you feel?
I'm terrified.
This is gonna change you in wonderful ways.
I mean, I hope so.
So I'm just coating all of them fairly evenly. And it's muddying them all up, but really bringing them into tying them all, blending it all in, I should say. So I know this is sort of from above, so I'm just gonna try and come in below a little bit. You're gonna hit them with a heat gun just gently, because I'm impatient. David was trying to say to me, you can't rush art. I'm like, have you seen my YouTube channel? All right, so it's your turn. So basically, how this works is, pushing down starts the airflow. Yep. Pulling back opens the valve that pushes the paint in. Feel free to like go quite heavy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's it. Go nuts. Do it. Do it. Go crazy. That's it. That's the application.
Cool.
You got grimy fingers, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrified.
So it ties it all in together, but it does obviously muddy it all up quite a bit. So for the next step, you get odorless thinner, and you just get a little container. So I've got a couple of shot glasses. Just gonna put back here. Don't
do it.
Don't do it. Just a little bit. So these are cotton dab bob hot woolly dobbers. They're woolly dobbers.
Woolly dobber.
Woolly dobber.
That sounds Aussie.
Get that woolly dobber in your son.
You know the legend of the woolly dobber.
All right, hang on. Where's me? I also had those little ear cleany things. Where'd I put those? Put them in something safely so I wouldn't lose them. All right, I got some spare. So we got a few ear cleany bits. Cotton swabs and woolly dobbers. So you grab one of your big boys. We'll grab a big boy each. So you follow along, but I'll film on mine, and then I'll do one, and then you do the rest, because I've got to go finish off setting up the cameras for actually tabletop time. This is how we're actually pulling off this video, is because David's rescuing me from myself. So you want to pop it in, but you don't want to soak it too heavy, so you can sort of wick it off a bit. And if you watch this is magic.
I'm going to watch yours first.
Magic.
Yep.
So just dab, and then sort of gently brush away. And it actually works some of it back into the crevices, but cleans up and clears some of the surfaces. So it sort of like adds detail, but increases the effectiveness and the impact of the grime. It's so good.
So do we want clean armor, or do we want dirty armor?
I mean,
it's looking pretty good dirty.
It is. I think the cloth, maybe the loincloth.
Leave that dirty for sure.
Should be dirty.
Yeah.
The gun, maybe just around the vent and the end, but the gun itself could be quite grimy.
is very cool.
Isn't it?
This is a fun little toy
And when
to play
it dries really matte. So it looks quite effective, like quite grimy. So I've done that with just the woolly dauber. I'm just going to go in with the air cleaner thing. And this is where I can just get a little more picky, take off some of the front-facing surfaces. So here, like around the tricep, just make that pop a little bit. Around some of the edges.
Wow, I can't believe how much color we hid with that. And then
isn't that amazing?
My brain was just like, yeah, it's gone.
Comes straight back. So this is the side-by-side. On the left is before, when the streak and grime's applied but not cleaned up. And on the right is streak and grime, but after just that really simple cleanup step. Like I really was quite rough with my cleanup. But yeah, you can see it applies a pretty rough wash, but sort of does an overall texture and blends it all together in I think, a really cool way.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
You like it?
Yeah, I'd love to use that on models.
Yeah, it's good fun. And you can be heavier than I've been, and you can be more accurate than I've been, but still, I think it ties it all in together and actually gets a pretty uniform, like, aesthetic that we're going for. Yay! So, Dave took over at this point and did more streak and grime. Tell me about your streak and grime experience, because you seem to really enjoy it.
Oh, I loved it. It was such an experience. I did find with the cotton wool, it was pilling off the little bits of fabric, but we got past that by just churning through cotton buds.
Yeah.
But no, it had a really cool effect, and I just focused on pulling it off the top of the muscles.
You've painted a lot of minis, and you haven't used streak and grime, so that's cool. I got to teach you something.
Yes, it's true.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've only used it on one mini, and I was like, yep, I'm using this more. This is great.
100%. So, I think you do get set in your ways, and I encourage everyone out there, if you do something, to try new things all the time.
And we're going to do a lot of that on here, which will be fun. So you really went and spread your wings on this project, and you took the lead with some of the awesome effects that you put on there. So bit of blood for the blood god and the glowing red eyes.
100%. I think if you've got a time limitation, use the tools that are already there for you. So I've got some texture paints. We've got some technical paints. Nurgle's rot. They've got some like foul stuff oozing out of the vents on the back and blood around the muzzle.
Oh, so good. So Dave has been leading the charge, and this one's ready for a base.
Just the eyes to go.
Gnarly. God, that's cool. Okay, cool. So for the base, I feel like we should be pretty straightforward, but I've never used pigment before. I don't know if it's dumb to use. Should we be a little wiser and instead use some of the GW like
textured paints?
Yeah.
I mean, we can, for sure.
It's probably easier, and then we can sort of...
They do take a long time to dry, so it's kind of like what we're left with is what we're left with.
I think so.
Okay. So we can kind of push it in between the mechanical parts on the base and...
Yeah, and then sort of gently dry brush onto the toes and feet and stuff. I think pigments, because I've never used them. Have you used them?
No.
Yeah. So I don't even know how to apply them properly. That's probably a different video. So yeah, let's slam on a bit of texture paint, clean up the base, and then we'll have some solid final characters and go to the reveal shot.
Sounds good to me.
So we went real simple for the base, because at this point we're running out of time, and we're supposed to be playing tabletop time very shortly.
Oh yeah.
And almost have the camera setup going. So David has made that possible, and this video possible. So yeah, thank you, David. But the results are amazing, and the bases, basically we just did, we had initially dry brushed sort of a brassy, rusty color, and then we went in more recently with the, what was it again? It was the
Armageddon Dunes.
That one, Armageddon Dunes, and then you chucked on some seepy pussy crap.
Yeah, Nurgle's rot.
Love it.
Yeah, throw that down and get the sheen, get some different textures going on.
And it works really well. And then with a clean, flat black rim. By the way, for the rim, this is the first time we've both used it. It's the AK Interactive flat black. It's really good.
Oh yeah.
Like really runny, and like it seems like it wouldn't go down and make a clean flat coat, but one coat, clean and like thin.
Really strong and no brush lines. It's fantastic.
Definitely recommend that. And here they are. Oh my god. So good. It ties in so well. So this is one of your Wolfie boys.
Originally, yes.
And this is one of my Wolfie boys, and they look really suited. They're in the same army. Yours has gotten a tan on the beach, and mine's just got a little softer fur transition, but actually just the general little things that we've done to tie it in all together have really united them.
Absolutely.
They definitely look like they're from the same pack.
My guy just waxes.
This so works for 40k. I did not expect a random prompt for a drawing video on my main channel to end up actually being 40k units.
You are holding two counts as chaos obliterators.
I could drone on all day, but thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
I feel like we have a fair bit of painting ahead of us.
Yeah, it's going to be an adventure.
A lot of stuff to explore. If you haven't, subscribe to Tabletop Time for more tabletop times. This is cool. I feel like the vibe of this video is genuinely going to feel like hanging out and painting at the tabletop.
Well, it was hanging out and painting.
Yeah.
For at least yesterday.
Well, I mean, I was still in the room. We were chatting.
Yeah.
It was still hanging out. So, and I think people will feel like they joined.
It felt like a game jam for tabletop.
It
was
did.
like a 2-day,
yeah, because I'm like, we're
project.
all crunching. This room was full of people getting tabletop stuff ready, and the Son of the Seraphim, which you haven't experienced yet, is already out, so you can go check that out. But again, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and thank you to everyone who made this possible, including you, Dave.
Cheers.
And we'll see you guys later. Boom!